What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to show you guys how you can potentially save millions of dollars avoiding rug pulls. In fact, so far to date we have over $26 billion lost from rug pulls, and with the majority of those rug pulls happening in 2022. You can see here based on the chart and the billions of dollars lost. And just in 2023 alone, in a bear market, we've lost $656 million from crypto hacks, scams, and rugs. Now, this article is actually a little bit dated because we've had like 400 rugs on base chain, but I'll get into that later on this video. The very first thing to look for is simply the layout. Now, if you take a look at RocketSwap, RocketSwap was actually one of the rug pulls that happened over on base chain. Some people say it was, some people say it wasn't. In reality, in my opinion, it was simply just a rug pull. This is actually a post from Forgiving. He says, I beg to differ. I think Rocket was a hard rug. The deployer changed the proxy 21 hours ago. Basically, it was kind of noting at like this was a premeditated planned rug. But taking a look at RocketSwap, what do you notice that is similar? Well, it looks just like SushiSwap. It's a copy and paste. It's nothing different. And it's basically the same junk, different day. And it seems like a big, quick cash grab. That is one of the very first red flags on this. There are several other sites you can pull up on this, but they basically rug pull and you can't access the sites anymore. One of them, for example, was cookiebase.xyz, and now you get something like this. They basically hard rugged and you can no longer access it. Also, here's another one that had a rug pull over on base chain. This is LeadSwap. You can see here LeadSwap. It's literally just a copy and paste template of something that's, well, Uniswap. Most of you guys already know about Uniswap and have used it before, but it's literally the same exact layout, same junk, different day. When I see something like this, automatically red flags go up and say, this is not a long-term project. This is a quick cash grab, and it's most likely a rug pull. Now, if you're the type of guy who likes to play in these, have some fun, go for it, but don't get wrecked and don't say I didn't tell you so. If you can see here, this is Cookiebase, for example. Hopefully you got out at the top before they pulled the rug and basically all the liquidity is gone. Here's an example of LeadSwap as well. Yeah, this is awesome. We go to 41 mil and all of it is gone. Next is the Honeypot. Now, a lot of people may think, oh yeah, this is easy to spot. I mean, if the token can be sold, it's so easy to tell. Not always the case, but the TLDR on the Honeypot scam is basically when you purchase a token or anyone purchasing the token, they can't sell the token itself. Or they can, but it's an extremely high tax, so it's like 90 to 100%. Now, just because you think, oh, well, it's a honeypot, if you can't sell it, that's so easy to tell on the charts. Well, no, it's not always the case. This is the example for me. This is Gains Network, the GNS token. When it first deployed onto Arbitrum, I knew that the liquidity pools would be newer and it wouldn't be as deep. And as most of you guys already know, I'm a pretty cheap guy. So I noticed that GNS trading on Uniswap, or at least this pair, it was still the GNS token, was trading at about a 10% discount. So I was like, oh, I'll buy this one instead. It's cheaper and I'll just grab it here. The buy went through, everything was okay. But the problem happened as soon as I went to the Gains Network UI to stake my tokens, I realized I was roasted. And I was like, snap, I just bought the wrong token. I even checked on Dex Screener that there were some buys and sells, but apparently the buys and sells, well, the sells at least, were from the same wallet that deployed the contract. So it was already a whitelisted wallet that was able to sell. Nobody else is able to sell this token. So TLDR is I just got stuck with a bunch of GNS token in my wallet. Definitely left with a wound from this one, but it was a learning experience and I won't make that mistake again. And I'm also sharing it with you guys so you guys don't make this mistake. So of course, the second one is the Honeypot. Just because you think you've checked that, hey, look, this token is sellable, it's not out of the woods. You need to be careful and make sure you check into the code for that. You can also use these tools right here, Token Sniffer and Go Security. These are directly on Dex Screener. But when in doubt, always go to the project Discord as well as into the white paper and confirmed in their pinned links. And sometimes, even then, there are risks involved with that because the Discord can be hacked or some of the links can be fake or some random scammer can send it to you in there. And that's why it's always best to use multiple data sources. I use CoinGecko, I use the project white paper, I go to the website, I check their Twitter page, as well as the Discord to confirm I have the right contract address in the project that I'm wanting to invest in. But all of that doesn't matter if the project is a rug anyways. So like in the first step I talked to you about, if you have like a junk UI and you get a sense that there's something wrong here, it's probably going to be a rug. It's not always the case, but it's a pretty big chance.
So the market cap is $2.168 trillion. And now the market, oh, it went to zero.
Now the third thing to look for is the socials. You can check in the Discord and the Telegram groups to get a vibe for the community, but the example I'm going to use here is on RocketSwap. Take a look here on RocketSwap and take a note and see when the first tweet was. It was on July 26, 2023. But if we go over and take a look and see when their Twitter was created, it was in August 2022. So why in the world did these guys have a Twitter account for about 9 months and did nothing with it? Well, what I get from this, the vibe at least, is that they purchased this account and these 11,300 followers, these were either botted or they were just purchased from the account that they bought. They bought an old account on Twitter. That's what I see from this. Or they just rebranded from another protocol that they were and deleted all of their previous tweets, and maybe they were just a scam or a rug pull on another chain. Who knows? But I'm just sharing this information with you so you guys can do with it what you will. If you see something like this, this automatically is a red flag. Like, dude, the guy's account was created August 2022, and the first tweet that he ever sent was July 26, 2023. Like, what the snap? I mean, sure, maybe he was touching grass, whatever, but that's a good period of time. Just something's fishy from this. That's the third thing to look for. And then, of course, go in the Discord and make sure that the active members and total members isn't out of whack. So if you have like 300,000 total members and like 100 active members, something's wrong. The thing's botted and they just got a bunch of random members in there. Like here's an example of the RocketSwap Telegram group. They have 238 line on out of 5,062. I mean, that ratio is not horrible, but if you go into that Telegram group and get the vibe of like, oh, buy the dip, or oh, we're going to the moon, or like just random junk that just sounds fishy, like this good coin, or just goofy stuff.
And I will not let you down.
Automatically throw up some red flags and just proceed with caution. Now the next thing to look for is token distribution. I'm using bubble maps to show you guys a quick UI, but this is Squid Game. Now Squid Game already rugged and it did all its things, so the token distribution, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But if you see a bubble like this holding a majority of the supply, you can see here 16% of the supply is held here. That just means there's one particular holder holding all of that supply. Now, if you have a triangle or a batch like this is in different wallets, but those seem to be connected with each other. So like all of these wallets, these are all in different wallets here, but they seem to be connected to each other. And as you can see here, this is labeled as gate.io. So this is just something you want to look for. If you have a handful of centralized holders, especially when there is a very low liquidity on the token, all I can say is look out below. Now this wouldn't be considered a rug pull. This would just be considered a rug pull. When a couple of the insiders have all of the tokens and they just decide to dump on everyone. Now the fifth thing to look for is the creator's token address. So the guy who created the contract, you want to take a look into that. This was CJ's tweet on Dictum Exchange. This was basically a solidly fork on Arbitrum. And they did end up rugging on Arbitrum. But as you can see here, this wallet, which deployed the actual Dictum Exchange contract addresses, he actually was funded from a wallet that was from Tornado Cash. So basically he washed his money through that he may have stolen from another protocol through Tornado Cash, and then he funded the wallet through it. And as you can see here from this screenshot, just a bunch of random BNB was funded to his wallet from Tornado Cash. Nothing fishy to see there. Here's another example of what I was talking about with the wallets funding different addresses. This was for Magnate Finance. About, I don't know, 8 hours after Zach made this tweet, they ended up rug pulling, closed down the Twitter, closed down the Discord, etc. And they rugged about $7 million. And basically the deployer's address was directly linked to the Solflare scam. You can actually use tools like Arkham Invest, and you can actually search different wallet addresses to see where the wallets were being funded from. This is not a one-all be-all, but using multiple tools always helps. And even when you have 100% conviction in something, there's still that chance that there is a rug pull. Now, the next things we'll look for is going to have to do with the proxies and upgradable contracts. Token Sniffer is really good for this. It's not a one-all be-all. In fact, it doesn't see it all. But if you are lazy, at least take a look at Token Sniffer. But if you are starting to invest a little bit more, it always helps to look in the code directly because Token Sniffer doesn't even catch this stuff. But basically, it just gives like a quick update. And this is the Squid token, for example. It pops out and says, hey, look, this contains a proxy contract, or not contain, and it says no, which means it contains one. And if you go into the Squid contract, this is how you would tell if it had a proxy contract. So basically the reason why you would want to avoid a proxy contract or one that's upgradable is that proxies allow part or all of the contract to be swapped out at any given time. So let's say you deposit into a pool thinking, hey, I'm depositing into here because I'm agreeing to these terms of the contract. Well, that contract can literally just be swapped out. And basically the original contract that you were interacting with is now completely different, and it could be full of rugs, honeypot, who knows at this point. You just don't want to get into those situations. They can basically change the terms in the contract after you are in it. So this is how you spot that. This is on Squid Games, for example. You simply go into search the contract address, go here on Binance Scan, or, well, this one's on Binance Smart Chain. Or you can simply just get this on Dex Screener by going to the pooled Squid, and you see here the Squid token right here. This is the contract holder, and then Explorer. Go to the Explorer, it'll show you there. But going back to the contract page, you simply hit contract, and then if you look into this, it automatically gives a pop-up saying this contract may be a proxy contract. Click on more options. So how you would do this is you would hit more options and say, is this a proxy? And it's automatically going to open this up, and you can search the contract here and it will give you some details on it. And for example, this one that just posted out, this one doesn't seem to be verified, which means that the code cannot be read, which basically means proceed with caution. This is another example of a non-verified contract here. You just get a bunch of 0x6. You can't even read the code. It's not human readable. So as you can see here in the commentary on this tweet, this particular contract is not verified. So although it is honeypot test passed, this does not mean the creator is not manually blacklisting wallets. The thing's not verified, so it's kind of like a black box, and you want to be careful with it. So going back to here, you can also search for specific terms. So let's say, for example, I want to search proxy. I would type in proxy, and you can see here it shows up proxy in the contract code. Now, that's a bad sign. You don't want to see that. Now, let me show you this with Sushi, for example. So this is on Sushi's contract. Let's go and type in proxy. This is for the token itself. Etherscan.io says no matching result. That's a good sign. You can also search upgradable, and we got nothing. So you can check on the other one to see if it has an upgradable, and there's nothing there for it. Another search term you want to look for is the migrator function. Basically, with the migrator function, the devs can just immediately rug your funds if it's not under a time lock. So this is just searching Squid and searching Sushi. There are no migrator functions, which is a good thing. But if you do see the migrator function, it's not 100% bad because it could be under a time lock. So at that point in time, you would search time lock. And if it has the migrator, it will show up the time lock. Let's say the time lock is 10 days. Well, as soon as they initiate that migrator function, just be leery because you're about to get rug pulled. If it's for 10 days, well, after that 10-day time frame, the dev's gonna rug it. Either way, you don't want to be in that type of situation. I wouldn't even get into a contract if it does have a migrator function. especially one without a time lock. That's just asking to get rugged. But again, most of you guys won't even want to do this. It's really annoying and it takes a bunch of time. In reality, most people are just going to search something like token sniffer. As you can see here, this was like GNS. This was the rug pull for me. You can see here, not a verified contract. It's not ownership renounced. Basically, it's not a good situation, and my money's gone. But basically, you can search on this, and this can be like your preliminary search. Now, guys, of course, these are not all of the examples to avoid a rug pull, but these are some of the major ones. This last and seventh one is going to be the most important one to follow. It's common sense. Use common sense. If something sounds too good to be true and raises doubts, it's wise to be cautious and to be careful with that project. And if you have to be cautious about a project, it's automatically a red flag, and it's like, why are you even messing with that? There are so many opportunities in the space. Just be careful. Don't mess around with scammy projects. And of course, practice diversification. Even when everything passes with all flying colors and everything looks good, there's still that chance of an exploit, a hack, or something to happen. I've lost so much money from silly mistakes, and I just don't want this to happen to anyone else. You guys can check out some of my previous mistakes and some of my previous videos so you guys can learn from my mistakes. That's the whole gig of this channel, is to share my mistakes with you guys so you can learn from them. If you guys made some mistakes in the crypto space, share with them in the comments below so we can all learn from those mistakes. And I just want to reiterate that point of diversification. You guys remember this Curve Viper exploit that happened, like a month ago? Well, I thought Curve was like the OG, everything was good for like 2-3 years straight, but just so happens, not the case. And this is just an example of why you have to be careful with stuff like this. It's DeFi, DeFi is risky, and there is always that chance of having an exploit, a rug pull. And if you don't diversify between multiple pools, you're just asking to get rugged. If you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to jump in the private Discord group, I'll drop a link in the description below so you guys can check that out. And also in the comments below, tell me what you guys want to see more of. Let's hit you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 14 verses 16. The wise fear the Lord and shun evil, but a fool is hot-headed and yet feels secure. Be good, be righteous. Peace.